Hello, Trailblazers, and welcome to another edition of Entrepreneur Journey. I am so thrilled to have Jacob Rick with me today. Jacob, how are you?
Doing well. I'm having fun in a new place and having fun talking to you. It's finally a pleasure to be here.
Nice. So just give us a little snippet of your business and who you help.
3C Success, as you can see hovering over my shoulder, it's a consultation agency. I work with freelancers, remote workers, people who work from home, entrepreneurs, anybody who has a title like that where you're not clocking into a typical 9-to-5 job and working from a remote situation or virtual. And I do consultation. I help them overcome pinpoint problems to find pinpoint solutions for where you're at and struggling in that journey to make sure you get to where you need to be. And the reason I do this is because it's a whole new world out there that just jumped in recently over the past few years. It's grown tremendously, and there's very little support out there for people in this industry. Awesome. So I'm here to help.
Awesome. That's an awesome thing to be helping people with. Thank you for doing that, to being such a value. I'm just gonna, so much value in this man. So let's go into some getting to know you questions. I like to have a little fun and kind of ask some off the wall questions. So would you rather have 5 half-size clones of yourself or 1 full-size clone?
That's actually a very amusing question, especially considering the fact that I'm actually a twin. So I've already got a full-size clone of myself.
Nice.
So I'm good
maybe
with
the 5, maybe the 5, Oompa Loompas.
Well, actually, at the same time with my brother right now, I think I'm good enough. My mom actually makes the comment. She had both of us and she was done. She's like, 2 of you, the same of you, we're done.
Nice. So my next question is, if you could live in any fictional world, where would that be?
Oh, that's a tough one. I'm a big fiction person. I've been dealing with those novels since I was a child. In fact, I'm a huge gamer, so I'm always immersed in different worlds and such. But if I had to talk about that, I have to go with a book series. Big props to a couple of writers names are Margaret Weis, Tracy Hickman. They did what's called the Dragonlance novels. And it's based off of a D&D campaign they ran with some of the original people who founded the Dungeons and Dragons worlds.
Wow. You don't happen to know when Dungeons and Dragons, like when I remember it being around when I was a kid, but I don't remember if it came out in the 80s or before then.
Oh, it was before that. Actually, it was like 1970s. I think I'm going to say 74. I could probably be wrong. It was like 72 or 74. Gygax came out and actually publicized it around that point in time.
Oh, wow. Nice. All right. I have played 1 or 2 Dungeons and Dragons games in my childhood. So.
It's an interesting game.
It is. So my next question is, would you rather own a luxury car or an out of this world like monster off-road vehicle?
God, I used to watch monster trucks with my dad as a kid. Always remember that too. Sunday. Yes. Always announcing that. Yep. Actually, I'd probably go with the luxury car. I'm not a big car person either way. Put me in front of a computer, that's my realm.
Yeah.
But I know for a while there I was really keen on the BMW i8. So luxury car.
Nice. It's tough for me because I look at some of the Jeeps that are out there. I'm not going to miss the name of it, but they don't make it anymore. You kind of have to get one retrofitted. It's not a Bronco, but it's similar to a Bronco. Okay. Convertible. You take the hard top off. It's kind of like a Jeep and a Bronco mix.
Yep, I know what you're talking about.
That's what I would want.
That's a good one. They're good for off-roading.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, people, if you don't know what I'm talking about and I don't remember the name. So let's go ahead and dive into your actual entrepreneur journey, kind of like where you started at and kind of what you've evolved into at this point.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to go through my full 44 years of my journey. It'll be nice and not spend that much time on this. But to kind of paraphrase my journey, it's actually something that started almost 20 years ago now. Yeah, about 20 years ago. I actually grew up in Minnesota. If anybody's familiar with the state, I grew up in Minnesota, about an Anoka-ish area. And about 20 years ago, I had just come back from one of my last jobs and I was in a very bad relationship. It actually turned kind of physical, and I've actually got a scar on my shin as a result of this. But at about the same point in time, I was approached by a couple of friends who wanted to open up a physical storefront. And this goes back to my gaming roots. We opened up a tabletop gaming store. And that's when my entrepreneur journey first started, was way back when, but I had no clue what I was doing. we managed to succeed. We went for quite a long time, roughly 11 years, like 10 years, 10 months type thing. Roughly 11 years, we went strong. But we finally got to a point we couldn't keep the business going due to family things, the change in the economy, the online business. It just too much going on. We couldn't keep up. So we sold the business. I worked at Walmart for the next umpteen years until about 4 years ago. I decided I'm done with that. I was in a stale area, stagnant. Basically, I was told I'm stuck being a supervisor on the inventory crew because I'm too good at making other people into leaders.
You're trapped for being good.
Yeah, I'm trapped for being good. So I'm like, I'm at a dead end. I got nowhere else to go. So I started looking into more professional and high-level sales careers. And then, as you'll hear all around the internet, it's called high ticket sales. So I jumped into a training program, did that for about 7 months, and finally got to an area where I felt pretty good about what I was doing. And then I started learning. I went out there. I mean, I've worked everything from software development companies to mergers and acquisitions and everything in between. Turned out really good. I learned a lot, but what really stood out to me is that the community that I trained in, and I'm still a part of, I didn't always have people to lean on that knew what they were doing because we're all new. So we had a great community, but we're always sharing, this is my struggle, not this is my success. And the people who are, this is my success, they're like, well, I just got lucky. Nobody could put anything finite to it. So I started thinking about how to make that work. And unfortunately, I'm in a new house right now, so I have all my fun stuff put up there. But after about 1.5 years of just learning all this and putting it forward into the community, helping people move forward, showing them what they can do, giving them techniques, strategies, and whatnot, I was actually recognized by the entire community as the most valuable contributor of the year in 2019. And that got me thinking, I could turn this into a business. I could put this out there because it's more than just my community that needs this. So I started going out there, and it took me about 2 years to finally get everything ready because I didn't feel I was ready at the time. I still needed a bit more education. So I went in, learned a bit more. And this last January, I finally put together 3 C's. So I'm out there now. And if you head over to the website, which we'll talk about later, you'll notice a bunch of testimonials in there from people I've already helped in the past, plus the fact that I'm always looking to help out more. My Facebook page has a bunch of training that I'm putting in there now too, just information, ideas, and thoughts to go with it. And I'm creating this community where everybody can come in and share those ideas, because I'm not going to be the only one who knows how to do this. And other people have better ideas or different ideas. So I'm creating this entire new community of how to put all this information forward so people can succeed. Because like I said earlier, there's nothing out there right now, really.
Yeah, you're filling it. You're filling a gap, man.
Yeah.
Props on that. And we're definitely gonna talk about it in a minute, but we're gonna put the link to the website below, so that everyone can check that out. Is there more to your story? Can we dive into your expertise a little bit?
We can dive into the expertise. The story will probably come out more with the expertise, because like I said, there's a lot that's gone on, and I'm not sure exactly all where to fill in.
Okay. So let's go ahead and dive into some of your expertise. As I've said, probably 20,000 times already, you deliver so much value when you come on our weekly masterminds on the Entrepreneur Journey Group. And thank you for that.
Quite welcome.
And it's 2 of the things that I've discovered that you're a master at are sales and copywriting. So do you mind talking about, well, let me actually jump here. One of the things we discussed in the group that you have a vast amount of knowledge on is getting past gatekeepers. So can you kind of talk about that and like why it's beneficial? And it appears to be difficult for a lot of people to build relationships. So can you how do they get to that person on the other side of the gatekeeper, and just kind of don't give us the full training that you gave in the group, just kind of because that's for another offer, right?
That's definitely for another offer.
But kind of give us some tidbits around that.
Absolutely. So one of the first things is to remember what a gatekeeper is. Now, a lot of people, it's not a mistake, but it's a preconceived notion. Everybody sees a gatekeeper as a blockade, something that just stops you from succeeding, and it's such a hassle, it's such a pain, it's so on and so forth. But actually, the thing about a gatekeeper is they are your best friend when you first start jumping into these conversations. And the reason why is because they know just about everything that you need to know, aside from getting the yes or no to your opportunity. So the first thing to keep in mind is make it about them. Make it about making their life easier. I remember this one lady, I was doing lead generation for a personal injury lawyers. That's what it was. I was going to say advocates, but personal injury lawyers. I was calling a office down in Arizona, absolutely wonderful lady. And I hopped on and all I said was, hey, I'm looking for John. Is he in the office today? And she's like, no, he's not in. He's actually out on vacation. Can I take a message? I'm like, well, actually fairly simple. If you could just give me like his email, a voice message, something where I can just get a hold of him. That way I don't have to bother you anymore. I mean, I'll just let you get back to your day. This is very simple. I don't have to do anything. And next time I get a hold of it, it'll just be him and I. You're good to go. She's like, oh my God, that'd be so great. I got swamped. I mean, yeah, I mean, if you don't leave a voice message, I'll do it for you. I'm like, cool. So I left a voice message. Well, the next day I had some new information because we just got something new in the business. And I called her up again and said, hey, I know I said I wasn't going to bug you anymore, but I got one more thing. You could leave a message for me. She's like, absolutely. And we just started talking. And next thing I know, this lady is giving me information about her boss, her company, the last like 5 years of what's going on in the business. And I'm going, ma'am, I love all this information, but are you really sure you should be sharing this with me?
Nice.
But as moment I made it about making her life easier, she was so happy with me. So make it about them. Make it about making their life easier. Ask for information. This is the next big key. Ask for information. You'd be surprised how much they know that they don't realize they know. Because if you think about it, they're the ones that are making sure that the time is booked. I mean, Doug, you've got your own VA, if I'm not mistaken. And she turns around and goes, Doug's busy. Doug's got this going on, blah, blah, blah. She knows what you have going on. She knows your schedule. That gives you, as the person calling in, talking to the gatekeeper, a chance to know what is important to the decision maker at that point in time. If I get a message saying, hey, Doug's down in Florida at the moment, he's going out, he's off on a business meeting. Okay, that means you're trying to do something to promote your business, you're trying to do something to expand your business. Great. That means if I'm in a position to offer you something that does expand, does connect you with those people, I'm calling at the right time. If I find out you're on vacation with your family, that's not the right time. You just want to go have fun. It's not the right time. You learn a lot just by asking for information from the gatekeeper.
Nice. And then when you do connect, let me ask you this, like, so let's give that scenario a twirl, for lack of a better word. So say you're messaging, you're reaching out to the gatekeeper. She says, so-and-so is on vacation with his family. Is it then appropriate or not appropriate for when you do contact that person to say, how was your vacation with your family or something? How was your trip to Colorado?
Yep, similar. And in this case, of course, you don't want to sound creeper-like. So general way of pulling this up is going, hey, John, I'm glad I could get a hold of you. I was talking with your receptionist, gatekeeper, secretary, whomever, or you just use their name. So I was talking with Lacey and she told me that you were on vacation. I mean, how'd that go? Did you guys have fun?
Instant icebreaker, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
Right then and there, you got that information. And now it makes it personal. You're not just jumping into a sales pitch. You're not just jumping in and saying, hey, I got an opportunity. It's like, hey, how are you doing? Welcome back.
Yeah.
Now it's a conversation.
Nice. Nice.
So absolutely wonderful for that one. The next one is do go straight for the decision maker. Now, this is something I didn't learn until about, I'd say, a year ago. And it actually started when I get into high level B2B, but it works at every level, especially B2B, and even when you're talking B2C. For those who don't know the terms, business to business or business to consumer. But ask for the decision maker directly. So if you're calling a company, let's say it's a 6-figure company and you're offering a consult, or actually want to hear more from that, you're an SEO service, website design, something like that. You offer that service, ask for the decision maker directly. And it's so powerful because a lot of people try to have a gimmick, a phrase, a unique thing to state right away to get their interest so that they do this. It's not always necessary. I promote that. It's absolutely wonderful to stand out above the crowd, but sometimes it's just as simple as going, hey, is John in the office today? Just that simple, because you get a yes or a no. And the other thing is first name makes you sound like you're already on a friendly basis. Number 2, they know exactly who you're talking about. And when you have the confidence behind it, and this is something that can be trained, but when you have the confidence behind it, it sounds like you're supposed to talk to them already. A lot of the times the gatekeepers are going, oh, shoot, did I miss something? Did I miss a call? Did I miss an appointment? And they're like, well, no, he's not in the office today. Can I help you? It's like, boom, right away, first thing. It's like, oh, okay, just let them know I called or I need to leave a voice message or something. You don't even have to go through a spiel with the gatekeeper. You just say, let me leave a message. Boom, done.
If I could comment on that, that's something that I was thinking of when you were saying that, is how important it is to know the person's name you're trying to reach, right? I've gotten calls from, is the homeowner there? Is the
Oh yeah.
is the business owner there? Already, this is a solicitation, right? So knowing the person's name, that's got to be huge.
Huge. Now, it's not always the case. Now, I have to give props. People who do pure cold calls, especially the ones you hear when they go, hey, it's the homeowner and it's the business owner, it's a pure cold call. They are in a very tough position because they don't have that information. Not everybody can get a hold of it. So there are techniques to get around that. I'm going to get into all of it right now, but there are techniques to get around that.
Yeah, so reach out to Jacob that we're talking about. Get diving further into this because, like I said, he's not going to spill the beans on all of this right here, because he did an exclusive training in our group, which a select group of us were able to be a part of. And so you need to watch out for those pop-up trainings that happen in the group, because unlike the ones that go into the guide section, these are like a one-time only. Then it's going to be for sale somewhere type of training. So
So one thing on here, and yes, it's a bit of bragging, a bit of bravado, and people hear this all the time when it comes to sales, but this is very important. The one thing I can state about this, and the reason why the training is important, is I've worked on this. I've got over 10,000 cold calls, both absolute cold and warm, under my belt. I've got anywhere between a 40 to 60% conversion rate to get appointments. So this works, and I've trained other people to do the same thing.
So if you're, we're going into a pitch here, but that's I'm gonna do it anyway, just because it's live and I'm off the rails. So if you reach out to Jacob, or if you yourself do the sales, or if you have salespeople on your team, do you train like the salespeople?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so have them reach out, or reach out for your sales team to connect with Jacob, because as you can see, what he's already telling us is very valuable information, and there's so much more underneath the surface. So I want to stop you from spilling any more beans on that topic.
Quite all right. I could talk for hours.
So I want to go back to what I was going to say in the beginning on the expert piece. Let's talk a little bit about copywriting and why it is so important. So just kind of dive into copywriting a little bit. I know that's a very general question.
It can be general, but you mind if I do a plug for somebody else real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. If you guys haven't seen it already, go to Frank Ammon's page. He's also part of the Entrepreneur Connect group if you haven't met him yet. I've got it on my website for the interview I had with him. We did talk a bit more about copywriting as well, so you can see more in there. I'll let that do a lot of the talking. But to cover what you're stating right now, copywriting is really important because that is what reaches people first. Okay, yes, you can pick up the phone and call them, but I guarantee you 90% of the people you're going to call aren't even going to pick up their phone. They're going to look at the phone going, I don't know that number. And they're going to ignore it. They're going to wait for it to go to voicemail. So the first thing they see is copywriting, the written word. All right, whether it be pizza shops, the entrepreneur journey picture in the background, and the spine of the books all behind you, that is all copywriting. Okay, even this tag right above my shoulder, that's copywriting. You see it first, you deal with it first. It's what sticks in your head. Every jingle that you remember from a commercial, every jingle you remember from a TV show, every slogan from whatever products you purchase, otherwise, that is copywriting. That is why it is so important. This is what gets stuck in your head. It's not the phone calls, it's the copywriting. A lot of people believe it is very difficult to get into copywriting. And in one part, it is, because it's hard to get into the big leagues of copywriting because they've already got themselves well established. But there are hundreds of thousands of companies out there that need help with copywriting. I mean, I'll tell you right now, I just moved. I've got my business I'm starting up. If I had somebody doing the copywriting for me, it'd take about 4 hours off my plate a day.
Nice, nice. That's how important it is.
Yes.
You spend that much time on it.
Yep. In fact, I'm redoing my entire website right now. That's all copywriting.
Nice. If I could dive into a scenario that I went through today around copywriting. So I saw an ad on Facebook. I'm usually against long form content. Just my personal thing. I know not everybody is. because I feel like you got to have a know, like, and trust before you can start doing long form content. And I feel like only the people that really know you respond to long form content because they're not. But if you could, with copywriting, I feel like if you can get them at the very beginning, the long form copy works. I went through 5 pages
Wow.
because the copy was that good. And I wasn't really interested in the product. I was interested in the copy.
Yep.
Because I thought, wow, I'm going to actually save this piece of copy because this is something I want to reference in the future because it's that good. So I just want to go on my little spiel. Like I don't normally like long form copy, but if it's done right, it can be really effective. So I don't.
And what Doug just did is he started his own swipe file. A lot of copywriters have their own swipe files.
Yeah.
I had a email campaign that I created. It's funny because it's long form as well, but an email campaign I created for another company, and I was teaching about copywriting for someone. Like, can I copy that? I'm like, sure, absolutely. So I took out some of the pertinent information, and now they got my copies as a swipe file everywhere. Absolutely, steal what's good.
Yeah.
You'll hear so many people say that. It's like, steal what's good, use it to build upon.
Yeah, I think, I mean, let's take the word steal and maybe rephrase it. Like you can take the fundamentals of what they're doing and it's kind of the way they're wording things. Don't take it word for word, right?
Yes. No plagiarism. No plagiarism.
No plagiarism. But take the essence of it and use it for your purposes. I would
Absolutely. As again, like in the sales training, the physical sales training side, it's also stated that anytime you learn from someone, it's not mimicking them, it's understanding the concepts behind it and incorporating it into what you do. Same thing with copy. There is one thing that I really do push when it comes to copy, and it's funny because I said it in Frank's show too, but I have to give a lot of credit to my mom for this one concept.
Wow.
Yep, it's a mom quote. When you write copy, and I started this by writing thank you letters to my grandparents and other people for presents, of course, as a kid, but when you write copy, write it as though you're talking to the person who is sitting across from you. When you read that, if it sounds like a conversation talking to the person who's sitting across from you, that's how they're going to read it back to themselves. So write as though you're talking.
That 5-pager was just like that, like they were talking to me. And if I needed the product, I was probably going to buy it.
Yep.
Even on the slightest need, I was going to buy it.
Now, I do want to touch on one thing you stated real quick.
Yes.
Though you talk about long form, you're not a big fan of it considering you want to build that trust relationship at the beginning. The one thing, however, with long form is you can do that at the same time, but you have to write the form in a way that engages for trust. Example, one of the companies I worked for, they were actually doing a training course for sales. And one of the first emails I wrote, the first thing I tossed in there says, hey, you're already smart enough to realize this is a sales pitch. So I'm not even going to try and offer it to you. Instead, I want to ask you a question. That's the first words I have in my email. And then from there, I asked them a question. How do you feel right now? And I asked them about their day, what they went through. Because when I talked about this particular aspect, it's a emotion, a feeling, a thought, a life situation that they could incorporate and understand because it's part of them. In fact, the entire concept was, when's the last time you saw a sunset or a sunrise where you could just sit back and relax and watch it? And if you think about it yourselves, how many times was the last time you did that? And you kind of sit back going, oh yeah. And now the emails grabbed your attention because now we're talking to each other on a personal level. Now I build that trust.
Painting a picture, putting them in a setting, diving into their pain points. Not, oh man, I haven't seen the sun setting. Because I like, you work a lot of freelancer. They're working a lot of hours, and I can definitely see how that would relate to them as well.
So I could go on for a while here, but the big part about copywriting is talk to your audience. There's 3 things you need to know right away. And this is the last 3 pieces I'll give because, again, too much giving away, not enough to sell. Do your research. Absolutely do your research. And the 3 pieces of research are know your product, know your market, and know your client. There's a lot more involved in it, but those are the 3 basics you absolutely need to know when you start your copy.
Nice. So got one more question for you.
Yeah.
Let's talk about something. This is live. I love it. So, how do you help freelance and remote workers? Let's talk about exactly kind of what you do there.
Absolutely. So this goes more into the whole consultation thing. Now, there's way too much to go into because the problem here is everybody's different. When somebody comes to me, and you'll notice again in the testimonials, the comments that are made there, but when they come to me, everybody's got a different situation. They're at a different part in their journey. They're something specific they need is always different. To give a couple of examples, when I first started helping people out, I actually had a gentleman who'd been doing major sales. I mean, they were doing 5-figure deals on a daily basis for the last 7 years. And yet they were sent to me for help. So of course I'm going, oh God, I can live up this high expectation. But it was a simple conversation. And what he wanted me to do is just to analyze what he was doing. He wanted that different perspective. So I sat down with his closing calls because he had them recorded, sat down with his closing calls, and I told him straight up, if you need to, I'll sign an NDA. So I ain't gonna say anything. But I spent 2 hours totally going through fine-tooth comb through this entire thing. I mean, I even time-stamped exactly where it was in the call, and I broke down what I observed. What I saw was slightly off, what I saw he could have done differently, tonality, inflections, all of it. Broke it down. Sat down, talked with him, and he went, and I told him 2 weeks. We talked about go work on this for 2 weeks and then come back and talk to me. So after 2 weeks, he comes back and goes, holy crap, man, I've been doing this. And this is when I found out. He's like, I've been doing this for 7 years. Just with your little bit of help, I had a 16% increase in conversions.
Wow.
Holy crap. So I was happy about this. So that's one example. I can help you with your just going over what you're doing, making sure you're doing it the right way. I helped another gentleman, and without going into the whole story because it is funny, but at the same time long-winded, but he came to me trying to figure out how to incorporate his ideas into a company. Now, this is a hard thing for a lot of people because they're like, I don't have the expertise, I don't have the rapport, I don't have the longevity in the company, seniority, whatever. So they're like, I have an idea, but I don't know how to present it. And they're afraid to. Some people are also like, I don't know how to present it and get compensation for it, because a lot of companies are like, oh, great idea. And then you see nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I can't even count how many times this happened to me. But then you learn how to have that conversation. And I helped him go through it. We spent like a week going through this, got everything figured out. He had an action plan, everything set in place. He even knew how to do a release schedule by the time he was done. And by the time he was finished with this, he would have increased the price of the product by about $3,000 and increased his own commission by about 8%.
Wow. Wow.
Well, he never made it. In fact, he got fired before he finished the entire process. Oh yeah, I know. I had the same expression. Like, oh man, that sucks. Until he goes, yeah, instead they hired me to be a partner for the firm and gave me my own office.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So teaching you how to do these things also makes you more valuable to the clients. Okay. The other thing that I go through is how do you make life work around this? It's one of the things I had to struggle with. I live in a house. I have kids of my own, plus I live with another household. We've got a communal living situation. They've got kids of their own. So I got 4 to 5 kids running around all the time. I work from home. In fact, I'm in my bedroom right now working. My daughter is out there waiting for me because she's got coins from me because she wanted to play with it. How do you make work and life happen at the same time? And this is something else I go through a lot because it is difficult. Not only that, but I've gone through a few months worth of conversations with my significant other because she doesn't see the vision I do. So how do you incorporate your vision with what's happening there? And these are the things I also help with because this is a huge part of it. I can't tell how many times my friends are like, hey, you're not working. Yes, I am. I'm just not in a freaking clocking in. I'm working.
Yes.
So teaching you how to make this work so that you're not stressing about it. You're not feeling like you don't have the time. And also another big one, this is probably the biggest one in my opinion, is helping you overcome the feeling of failure.
Ooh.
There are so many people who, because they're not where they think they should be, they feel like a failure. They feel like nothing's working, nothing's going right, and they start to decline. And a lot of people, I've seen so many people, hundreds of people just fall out and go back to working a 9-to-5 job and never getting to where they want to be. So I can help with that too.
Wow, that is huge. That is major. Everything, if I'm going to make a reference here, just because it's something I've been watching recently. I don't know if you ever seen the show Billions.
Oh yeah.
You're a performance coach, right? That kind of what makes me think that you're like those traders came in and saw that woman, and like soon after they met with her, their performance improved. So that makes me think a lot of what the scenarios you're describing are very similar to that. So that's really awesome.
Just to put a fun one out here, because I asked this question in a group once, what's the difference between a coach and a consultant? And I like the responses, and a lot of people, they don't really see a huge difference between the two. But what I would like to put out there is I'm not a coach because I don't have a program that I'm putting out there. I am a consultant because I do pinpoint solvings, and I put a lot of the responsibility on you. Now, yes, there's accountability, but a lot of it falls on you because I can tell you all this. I can walk with you through all this. I can work with you on through all of this. But until you do something, nothing's going to change.
Yeah, it's up to you to execute. I can give you everything that you need to execute. Much the same as what we do with a lot of things that we do. We can give you the whole strategy and plan to do it. We also have done for you option, so we could do it too. But and our do-it-yourself option, it's up to that client to execute. So
absolutely,
that's how you see the results, and it's just better for your own mindset if you go out and execute. So, I said that was going to be the last question, but I lied. One of the other things that I've seen you talk about is adding value when you have limited resources. So if you could expand on that.
Yep. So there's two sides to this. Number one, adding value itself. Okay. I have a video that I put into my Facebook group. You can go in and watch that. I talk about this a bit. But one of the big things when it comes to adding value is a lot of people get stuck on this idea, twofold idea. Number one, there has to be something physical that gets traded between two people to add value. It's the whole idea that's been drilled into our heads for so many years because of the idea of paying for something. There has to be a physical exchange for something else. Even if it's an idea, there has to be a physical exchange for that idea. And that's not the case. Okay, think about yourself. Put this in your own scenario for a moment. If you just did something, complete stranger, you just did something for a complete stranger because they were there. Let's say you just stopped off on the side of the road and helped them change their tire because it was flat. Are you expecting them to pay you for it? No. But would you feel better if they just waved, got in the car and drove away, or if they actually stopped and said, hey, thank you, you just made my day so much better? Yeah. Just by saying, hey, thank you for making my day so much better, you got something in return. That is adding value in return for value added. It goes both ways. I talk about it, but it's the law of reciprocity. If you haven't heard about it, look it up. It's a great one. But the other side about it is, Doug, you're a prime example. How many times do you sit back and just smile to yourself when somebody pops up and leaves a message that says, hey, I don't know if you've seen this before, but I've seen a lot of people who've gone through your program or your Facebook page or something, and they're like, oh my God, this is great. And they learned something and implemented it, and they're so much better. Just leaving that little comment of, I've seen what you've done and it makes a difference. Yep. You don't have to have something physical to exchange in order to add value. Sometimes it's just letting people know you matter, you make a difference, you're doing the right thing. That right there is one of the big ones. Leave comments, leave likes, leave testimonials, comment on posts and other things to let people know what the value is that you have seen or gotten. Huge way of adding value yourself with having nothing. Yeah, I love that whole idea because it goes back into my whole, it helps you also build the relationships, which I'm so big on. Because you know, it's the value exchange, and I always, even before a monetary exchange, I like to give some sort of value before even money is exchanged, to kind of, you know, to prove of expertise, that sort of thing, and it inclines people more to make the monetary exchange. Now, the second one that I want to touch on, and this is a lot of the times I see this more in salespeople that are trying to get hired. This is more when you're trying to get your name out there and get a position, and it can be done with copywriters and stuff like that too. But when you're going out there and trying to get a position, a lot of the times you hear add value first. I see a problem a lot of times in these situations where people go in and their idea of value is to point out a problem and say, I can fix your problem. Yes, wonderful. Point out problems. People need to know this. In fact, I did the same thing in the first time I ever got hired, but it wasn't until after I had my first conversation I did this, because I went through saying, hey, you know what? I love what you got going on. I saw your program. It's cool. We discussed a little bit about it. And then I went through and did a deeper dive, I should say. And I found out that he had some links that weren't working on one of his websites because he's got multiple websites. I'm like, hey, your links aren't working. So I sent him a message. Hey, dude, your links aren't working. I'm not sure if you're aware of this. Just want to let you know I'm still going through your stuff. That's all I said. And he goes, oh God, yeah, I need to get back to that website. And it created another form of conversation between us, because then he went, wait a minute, you know what that is. So now it shows a little bit more expertise in what we were talking about too. So yes, great, show them, but don't start it off. Because imagine yourself, you're out there on the streets and somebody walks up to you and says, dude, yeah, your shoelaces are untied. Doesn't seem like much, but you're going to sit back going, God, now I feel like an idiot.
Yeah.
Now it's not a helpful thing. Now they just embarrassed you in public. You're trying to do, it's kind of the same concept. You hop on the call with them. So timing is a big key when doing that. So when you're jumping in, that same concept, and you have no value, no resources to add in, one of the simplest things you can think about and know, your network. Your network is one of the biggest things. You know what? I don't have anything specifically I can add to you right now, but if you need something, I have a bunch of people I talk to, because you do. Everybody talks to anywhere between 1 to 500 people. You have a network.
Yep.
Find help for them if they need it.
Yep. Yeah, which leads me to think of one of the things that I talk about a lot is to grow your audience, grow your network, and continue to grow your network, because that is valuable stuff to offer someone else. If you can let people tap into your network and vice versa, it's very, very good.
I've done it on Doug's Entrepreneur Connect journey like 3 or 4 times now.
Nice. Yeah, well, that's the place to do it. So if you haven't been on Entrepreneur Connect yet, I'm just going to do a quick plug. It happens every Friday at noon Eastern time inside the Entrepreneur Journey group. So you have to be a member of the Entrepreneur Journey group to attend, except in June, there's going to be a special off group edition of Entrepreneur Connect where who knows how many people are going to be on that one, but I'm a little scared. But we're gonna do one off group just to give people that aren't part of the group a taste of it, so that they can come join. But so I didn't mean to do a plug; it just happened because you had mentioned it. Thank you, Jacob, for such a great interview. Tell us, other than your website, is there anything else that you want people to check out, to go to?
I have a LinkedIn page and a Facebook page, both for 3C Success. Check them out, help grow the community. LinkedIn's relatively new. I don't have a whole big following on there. Facebook, I just started doing it. In fact, I was telling Doug right before we started, I got some fun news for myself. I finally reached over 10,000 views on my Facebook page for some of my posts, and
wow,
over 5,000 engagements. And I've only, like I said, I've only been up and running since January. So I can help you guys out. But yeah, I'm getting up there. So now I just need to start getting more people to see there, get Active, and start dropping posts themselves.
Nice. And you said, was it mentioned in your Facebook profile? You also have a group, you said, right? Or is that only
that
for
is
your
the
clients?
Facebook profile and LinkedIn. Both of them are for groups. You can just join in. That's where the group is going to be.
Okay, awesome. All right. So Jacob will give me those links, and we'll put those below along with his website. Any parting words for the trailblazing entrepreneurs?
It's going to be a roller coaster. No matter where you're at in your journey, whether it be the beginning or where you think you might be at the end, it's a roller coaster. It's going to be good and bad. You'll see the memes everywhere, and it's true. I'll tell you right now, I have gone times where it's 6 months before I've seen a paycheck, and I've had times where I see 10 grand rolling in a week. But if you stay consistent and you have support, you will always find a way.
Yes. And if I could just piggyback on that for a second, surround yourself with people that are going to keep you going. Your network, go back to the network. Your network of people, the people that you surround yourself with, is very important in that too. So yes, it is definitely going to be a roller coaster. I can attest to that myself as well. Thank you once again, Jacob. And until next time, Trailblazers, keep moving forward.
Take care.